stood up, started running, saying in my head, and I was kind of out of breath, so it was taking a little bit longer, and I was trying to get longer strides out.
So this, what you were doing was not what you were trained. I imagine this probably not the smartest thing to be doing in the middle of a firefight as well, but you had to get to where you need to go.
Definitely not the textbook or the most orthodox method of doing it, but it had to be done. I had to cover some ground, so we were moving. Okay,
so I assume a casualties involved, and two, this was actually supposed to be your fire team. So these are all your fire team.
Yes.
This is all the people you work with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure you had a lot stronger feelings. I mean, of course, I assume everyone in the squad has strong feelings about their squad members, but these were actually your team members.
Right. It's like that kind of what drove me to do a little bit more unorthodox stuff is the fact that it was my team, and I needed to help them out.
Okay. I remember we were discussing this earlier. You were talking about why you were doing it. You were actually your squad leader recalled later on that there was actually rounds impacting fairly close to you. Or?
Yeah. The third team leader, Corporal Del Lorenzo, he later on he told me that when I was up running, a couple rounds from a machine gun went right between my legs, and then I sprawled out and dove and hit the ground. And I didn't know that the rounds had hit that close. I knew they were close, but I didn't know they were that close. And he thought that I was, now wounded in action. He started calling a radio saying that I was down. And then I jumped back up. He's like, "Wait, stand by, Ruckel's up." And I started running again. Another burst of machine gun fire, and I lay out, get down. He's like, "Okay, Ruckel's down, Ruckel's down." And I jump back up. He goes, "Oh, hold on, I'll talk to you in a minute." And let off the radio, and I come running up to him, dive to the ground. He had that, "What the fuck are you doing?" look. Excuse my language.
No, don't worry about it. That's actually
okay.
Because we explain to you, or we want the viewers to understand your feelings at that time, and to what was being said to you. And I assume your squad leader in the middle of a firefight.
Yeah, Corporal Del Lorenzo was, pissed but happy for me to be there because I had my saw with me, and that's more firepower to help relieve stress off people.
These weren't the same saws that we see nowadays. These are some of the
the saws that everybody's carrying now they're called parasols. Telescopic saw. It's like a collapsible buttstock, shorter stubbier barrel. It's better for a mountain environment, which is military operations and urban terrain.
So fighting in the city,
basically, urban warfare. But back in Huseba, we didn't have those capabilities. We had a full buttstock and a full barrel, which was about 42 inches long.
Okay, so this was a pretty heavy gun to be, moving around with, especially in this tight ditch. I assume it was a pretty small ditch.
It was a tight squeeze.
Okay, and how do you recall kind of how much ground you ended up covering when you did this dash?
I couldn't even tell you. I know it was a ways. It's probably a couple hundred meters. Because from the front of first team to about the back of third team, it was about 100 meters. So just from dispersion from people, each person has 5 to 10 meters between them. That by the time it gets back to me, that's 100, 150 meters that I got to cover.
Okay. So of course, if you had done the up by see me I'm down kind of stuff, it would have
taken a little bit longer.
Okay, so out of desperation to get to your fellow team members, you just chose to disregard your safety and just make longer bounds.
Correct.
Okay.
And then once we got up to the casualties, I was placed at the front, facing the north.
I'm a little slow with the camera, so no, it's okay. I just want to make sure that I can. All right. So where were you?
I was at the front here, facing to the east, and Corporal Hogan was talking on the radio, trying to get casualties in, and he's like telling me, Ruckel, face east, and he's like, no, Ruckel, face southeast, and he was like, no, Ruckel, face northeast, and I was like, just tell me which way you want me to fucking face. He goes, okay, face that way. I was like, no problem. So I faced that way.
Which way was that?
That was to the east.
Okay, so facing toward the radios.
Toward the radio station and the train station.
Okay.
Actually, the radio station is more down here, but the board's big enough. So it was more to the southeast.
Let me get that right there. So the radio station on this map right here is actually a little further south.
It's further south, and I mean I just ran out of room here, so.
Okay.
So I
appreciate that. Yeah,
I was facing suppressing the radio tower as much as I could, the train station, and that's when the rest of the platoon started coming up. And I had a second to turn around and check out what was behind me because I had Marines moving in front of me, getting a better buffer zone on us. And I saw Nims trying to get back in the fight. And I looked at him and was like, "Hey, Nims, you're hit."
This was the individual hitting the arm. Too.
Yes, Nims was in my team. He would have been my assistant automatic rifleman. So he was hitting the arm, and I was like, "Nims, you're hit." And he kind of started looking at his arm, kind of try to, look like he was about to freak out. But Doc was right there, turned his head away from the wound, opened his blouse, and started treating him. And at that time.
And you say when he was hitting the arm, this was like, stuff you see on TV. This was a pretty traumatic arm injury.
Yeah,
right?
like the round hit in the tricep and opened it all up. So it wasn't just a scratch. I mean, he was able to still function. He was in no mortal danger. It's just pretty bad to see your buddy's tricep blown open like that.
Okay.
At that time, we were sitting there. The first casualty collection vehicles came up. It was 2 gun trucks and a 7-ton. And right when the 7-ton rolls up, an RPG was fired and went right, like all the Marines, like right past our heads.
So it was just like, how far over was it? Was it pretty darn close?
Close enough to feel the heat.
Okay, that's close.
Yeah. And it hit the 7-ton right in the fuel cell, skipped off this fuel cell and went straight up in the air. And so it was kind of like, oh shit, and it blew up. The 7-ton driver, cranked the wheel and turned out of there because he was leaking fuel pretty bad. And we don't blame him, don't hold anything against him, never have, never will, because he had to get the hell out of there, or else that would have been a vehicle there, and that's a bigger target, which is worse for us if it stays there.
And two, he's, I assume you're concerned about too, a 7-ton catching off fire.
Right, and the right round hits it in the wrong way, then it could have been a bad deal. So the 7-ton driver peeled out, fucking RTB'd with 2 gun trucks, and from what I was told, the 7-ton was on the way home and told him to open up the gate, that he's coming in fast. They open up the gate. As soon as he gets into the base, the engine shut down, ran out of gas, and just kind of rolled to a stop.
Okay, so just made it in the nick of time, kind of.
Right, just by the skin of his teeth.
Okay, so the gun trucks, they actually were able to pick up all the casualties. So got all your casualties taken care of.
Not the first wave. We had to wait a little bit longer. Then Cat Blue rolled up with the ambulance, and we were able to get the casualties loaded into the ambulance and get them out of there. By that point, I was up on the railroad tracks here because my squad leader, Corporal Heath, needed to get on the other side of the north side to check out, see if it was more cover and easier for us to move. So he told me to set up on a support by fire position on top of the railroad tracks and screen his movement with fire.
Okay.
So I get up on the railroad tracks, started suppressing the targets.
Do you recall actually engaging any targets, or?
Yes, I do. There was, by that time, the battalion commander came over, made the call that.
Who's battalion commander at that time?
It was Lieutenant Colonel Turner, or Lopez. I'm sorry.
Lieutenant Colonel Lopez.
Yeah,
okay.
Colonel Turner is our colonel now.
Okay.
But Lieutenant Colonel Lopez made the call because stuff was going sideways in a hurry, and he told us that we were weapons free. And what weapons free means is that if it's on the street, then it's an enemy combatant.
Okay.
We had, and to help protect the civilians a little bit, or actually a lot of it, we had psyops roll around. And what psyops is basically a Humvee with big speakers, and they say stuff in Arabic like, if you're not in this fight, stay inside your house, or you will be hurt. And this one of the so people would stay in their houses. So if anybody was outside their house,